people have done nothing wrong. They get blamed for systemic racism, chauvinism. Okay, I'm tired of
But you
acting
can't tell
like
me that
Pepsi did
it's
something
not
wrong.
their fault.
I can't. Well, okay. You know what? You have a very strong argument that Pepsi may be the root cause of systemic injustice in Western capitalistic nations.
Thank you.
Thanks for delivering that essay.
This episode is made possible by Pepsi and our therapy partner, Dirty B.
Sponsor the show, Pepsi.
From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Pod Therapy. Real people, real problems, real therapists, real flights. You can submit your questions anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us podtherapyguys@gmail.com. And now broadcasting from the churn, that guy's Dr. Jim Job, and I'm Nick Tangeman. It's time for some Pod Therapy.
So, you flew Southwest, though.
Yeah.
So your bags flew free.
I only had a carry-on bag.
But they don't charge for that?
No.
So I've booked flights in this season in the spring to go visit.
Hold on. Do you think you learned anything?
No.
No.
Yeah,
okay,
from
go
that
ahead.
whole thing? Yeah, he didn't learn anything.
No. Just from your previous experiences. Flying.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Did
thought
you
you asked
learn
if Jacob
anything?
learned
No.
anything from his flight.
No.
Also, no to that, by the
Okay,
way.
yeah, well.
No to
I don't
both
know
questions.
what could have been learned.
Nope.
Both of your questions, no.
All right, so I'm going to fly to go see family.
Yep.
And I got to bring my whole team here. So I got to buy 4 tickets round trip. So, of course, I'm looking for a bargain.
You're renting a helicopter.
Dude, I had such a journey. Man, this, honestly, I might even save this. This might have to be an entire Patreon.
The Grand Canyon tours.
Yeah.
Get one of those.
Yeah.
And then just continue to offer them an extra 100.
Yeah.
Can you take us another 100 miles?
Yeah, how far?
A little further?
Take us a little further.
That's right,
A little further.
As if they don't have to
Keep
gas
going.
up.
Yeah.
This is one of those
All the
Tesla
way to
helicopters, right?
Yeah.
We'll be fine. You're solar powered. Yeah, all right. I you know what? I think I'm actually going to save this for another Patreon because it's a whole thing. But
I mean, I have more flights coming up this month.
Oh, wow.
Or as this episode airs this month. And my next one is on Spirit Airlines.
You are flying Spirit.
I have a Spirit Airlines flight coming up.
All right, look.
You guys.
You know what? I'm just going to bring it up now because I'll probably have new Patreon content. Here's the deal.
I did it because 2 reasons.
I hate myself.
They were the only airline flying into the airport that I'm going to at the time that I wanted to fly. And for the round trip flight, it was a difference, not a cost, but a difference of $700.
Oh, see, that's what I'm saying.
See,
so look,
And I was like,
nobody does this
it
because
really-
it's a good idea.
I was like, it
Nick.
really is. It is a difference. My round trip
It's
flight on
significant.
Spirit is about $300, and the round trip flight on any other airlines was $1,000 or $1,004.
It's so big that you have to think about.
That's it. That's
what-
really it.
That's all this is. Nobody's doing this because they like it, man.
If it was a difference of $200, I would have done the other airlines.
Yeah.
The problem is, though, is that you looked at Spirit. The key is to not
No,
look at
it pops
Spirit
up.
at all.
It
gotta
pops
see the
up
numbers.
on Kayak now.
You got to see the numbers.
Spirit populates on Kayak.
Same thing happened to me.
that's
Same
terrible.
thing. So I'm looking for flights to Nashville.
Yeah, I definitely was not looking. I didn't go to SpiritAirlines.com or whatever
and I
their
have
website
points.
is.
So for me, it's even harder because I got points. So I'm like, I got to use my points, right? So all the flights to
points.
Nashville are like
I probably have
really
points.
expensive.
I don't care about that.
Oh no. Well, here's how they get
Spirit
you.
Point seems like an award or something that you'd win on like the worst possible game show.
It's terrible.
No,
Yeah,
it's
it's like-
if you win that Razzie Award for
Yeah,
making
yeah.
the worst movie
Yeah.
of
There's
the
no
year,
value to them.
you get
Just
Spirit
Spirit
Airline
points.
points.
No, it's on, and they're unspendable. Like that's so really expensive.
Actually, this is a great idea. At the next Scoop Fest at Mouth Figure Butthole at the Mouth Figure Butthole tournament,
You get
whoever
Spirit
gets
points.
knocked out first.
Yeah, you
gets
get
like 100
10,000
Spirit
points.
Spirit points.
That'd be
That's a
great.
great
That wouldn't get you a
idea.
Sprite.
No.
So it was such a fiasco. Like the prices
I
are
like
really
this
high.
idea a lot.
So
I need to remember this.
I dive into Spirit. I'm like, all right, what's the prices here? So I could get like up and back. I think it's like I'm getting like $70 a ticket.
and
like,
you're going to Nashville? You said?
Yes, to
Okay.
Nashville. So $70 a ticket one way. I could probably get each member of my family for like $300-400 round trip.
All right.
So I'm like, all right, this is getting to a reasonable place because the other ones are crazy. Plus, I have a shit ton of points. So I type in all the points, try to do the checkout. It turns out, after all these years of saving points, I have exactly enough points to cover the entire trip. Round trip, all 4 people. I'm like, hell yeah, let's go.
And
I'm
then
gonna
you
do
don't
it.
have any more Spirit Airline points.
Yeah, and then I can finally delete the damn card and be out of this game.
Okay.
So I put it off for one day. I come back the next day. Prices have jumped. Now it requires another 20,000 spirit points.
Yikes!
So I had 68,000, and that covered it. Now it would take about 80,000. So I guess that's whatever, like 12,000 more spirit points.
Okay.
So I'm like, shit, how much does it cost to buy those? Because they say, hey, you can just buy those spirit points. I'm like, great, how much is that? $400 more
Oh my god.
to buy those spirit points. I'm like, damn, dude, that's a lot of money. Like, holy shit. So then I'm like trying to, like, whatever. And you can't just spend all your spirit points and then pay the difference. That is not how it works. Either your spirit points cover the flight.
Bullshit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they have figured this shit out.
That is, I got to tell you, Jim, that is not how it works on every other airline.
I'm sure that's not how it works in the modern fucking world.
Every
but on
other
Spirit,
airline,
it's a bizarro universe of pain.
If I have Southwest points, for instance, and I am
they're like Sky Miles.
1,000 points shy, or whatever the number would be, shy of getting my ticket.
Yeah.
I can just go to a different page on their website and buy 1,000 points.
No.
Yeah.
That is not how this works.
And then I have the points in my bank, and I can spend them how I want.
Yeah. So it's you either use all the points, or not all the points, but like the ticket is fully encapsulated by points.
Yeah.
Or you have an option of paying cash, or you have an option of points plus cash, which is a formula they already come up with. So it's not like you can have a fader, and you're like, I'd like to use most of my points and then just pay the difference.
Yeah.
No. It's like you can cash in this many points, and it's like half off tickets or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's all bad. Everything's really expensive. Then, if you try to use your points, they charge you $50 a ticket each way. So 4 people, both ways, 8 times they charge me $50
this is a garbage company
to use the points. I shit you not. So even if I could have covered my whole flight,
it's still an extra $200.
If I would have
it's actually $400.
$400. If I would have checked out with the 68,000 the day before, they would have charged me $50 each way, each person. $400 for the privilege of using my points because I'm using them within 30 days. If you book out a flight that's 35 days away, they don't hit you with the $50 fee each ticket. But anything under 30, you get popped $50 a
Jim,
ticket.
let me ask you something, Jim.
Fucking way.
Jim, I'm about to help you out.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm about to fix your life.
Thanks, man. I need it.
Can you transfer Spirit Airline points to someone else?
Sure, there's a fee, but yeah. I don't know. I assume so.
Give these points away.
I probably should.
And book a different airline.
I need to do that. So
Yeah.
I'm like furious.
You know what, Jim?
I'm
These
balled
points, these points are a prison.
No, they are. I want
These
to
points
burn them.
Are a prison.
No, you're
Give them
absolutely
away.
right. I need to get rid of them.
Find someone.
I agree.
And you know what?
You're absolutely right.
Theropods, if you're listening. You know what? You have to be on the pterodactyl level or above.
To get free points from Jim.
All
so
you
that
have
I
to
can
do
be free of
is
this burden.
pay whatever the transfer fee is,
I'll send you
and
the points.
Jim will give you the
Free
points.
Jim. Yeah,
So-
send
and
me
then
gift
Jim
cards.
can fly on Delta, on Southwest, on a chartered helicopter.
So the story gets
Can I
worse.
jump
Go
in just a second? Because so I've had clients that get clean. They come to treatments. They're working on their recovery. They're serious about this. But somebody out there in their using lifestyle still owes them money.
Right.
And so
Can't
they're
let
like,
it
okay,
go.
well, as soon as I get out, I
gotta
gotta
get
call
square with that
I gotta
guy.
call Joey because
Yep.
Joey owes me $200. So I'm gonna
Yep.
call him and I'm gonna get a hold of him. And I'm like, no, don't call Joey.
Don't call him.
Because you call Joey, you're
He's
going to
gonna
go
rope
over
you
there.
back in.
And you know what Joey's doing.
Yep.
And he's going to get you high
Yep.
before you get your $200.
That's right. He's gonna give you a little
So
taste.
here's what you
He's gonna
do.
drag you back into
And
the
so
nightmare.
I would explain. I said, you know what you're going to do? Is your sobriety worth $200 to you?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Okay, great.
cool.
Waive that fee. You
Mm.
are paying $200 to protect your
I'm paying
recovery.
68,000 spirit points to be a happier person.
That's it.
Exactly.
Damn, Nick. That's
Exactly.
fortune cookie shit. I'm gonna be
It
honest
is.
with you.
Because I'm going to tell you right now.
It's hard to walk away from 68,000.
But they're not
spirit
real.
Points.
The points aren't real.
God
Jim,
damn, you're right.
they're
Jim,
not
can
real.
you?
Oh, there's no.
Jim, can you buy a flight with those
There's
68,000 points?
Apparently, fucking not.
Exactly.
Because
So you're
I
walking away
didn't
from
get to
nothing.
use them.
You'll never catch the unicorn.
Yeah.
Also, Jim, I got to tell you, Your family hates you.
Oh, I know.
Also, all right, now back to the airline
I've read
conversation.
The Christmas cards. Yeah. So I'm staring at this. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Put your family on a flight that doesn't fly them somewhere via a lawn chair.
So to use the Spirit points to get both sides.
I know that I have to fly on Spirit next month.
And you're not looking
and I am currently miserable.
Oh, I get it. I get it. No, you have no idea how bad this gets for me. So in order to
it's
get
like a
both
2.5 hour flight.
Yeah, 3 hours. In order to get this, I've got to now spend $400 additional to get the points necessary to use them on the flights, and $400 more to use the points. So it's going to be $800 for my free fucking flights.
Yeah.
It's a joke. So I'm just like ripping all this to shreds. Like, this is stupid. So then I dig a little bit deeper and I figure out, okay, if I take Spirit up there, I can get a nice cheap flight.
Okay.
If I take Allegiant back, I can get another nice cheap flight. I'm like, great. So I do the math. I figure out, okay, don't use any of my points, but just go for cheapy flights. I can do the whole thing, all 4 people.
I bet less than 800.
$500.
Yep.
Now, that's just the tickets. Then you start going through the check-throughs, right? And it says, hey, do you want to pay for picking your seat? No, fuck you, Spirit.
Nope,
I don't care. I don't care at all. No, Allegiant, I don't care.
Nope.
And it's like, great. Do you need a bag?
Nope.
Because if you check a bag, that's $50 with Spirit, $60 with Allegiant per bag. If you would like to carry on a bag, that is $50 with Spirit, $60 with Allegiant per bag.
So it's $110 to carry the bags.
One bag.
And each person has a bag?
So you assume 4 bags.
So $110 per person, or you can get to where you're going and go buy some clothes.
So here's what I did.
Or, fuck it, you can put some clothes in a box.
That's what I'm saying.
Ship them to where you're going.
So this is how deep the rabbit hole goes. Where he's going is where I went.
As you said, before you do this, what day of the week are you flying out?
It's like midweek.
And what day?
So
of the
I
week
got
are
some
you flying
discounts
back?
for that, and so like I ended up getting the cheapest possible flights. So as I'm looking at the bag stuff, I'm like, dude, no way am I dropping another $500 just to bring bags.
Right.
This is ridiculous. It's the tickets all over again. This is stupid. So I bravely, heroically stand up to the man, and I picked 0 bags.
Good.
No bags for my entire family.
Yep.
The whole way there, the whole way back. And I have been getting deep into the hole of the life hacks that exist to try to beat this system. I have brought with me, gentlemen, a bag purchased on Amazon that is specifically exactly the dimensions that Spirit and Allegiant will allow.
Oh, SJ has a rolling one.
Bags.
SJ has a rolling
that's perfectly
bag
suited.
that fits under the seats.
So for listeners, this is about the size of a large purse, I would say. That's about a large purse. And so I've been looking up all this information.
Unless you are a Southern lady, in which case is a normal-sized purse.
It's just a purse. So I've been looking up all these tricks and all these videos, and basically I am going to put clothes inside of vacuum-sealed bags. I'm going to vacuum the air out of them. I'm going to get them inside of this little ditty. And then I found out online, Allegiant... No, so you know how when you get to the airline, they have that box, that metal box, and you got to take the bag and you got to drop it in the box.
No, you don't get close to that box.
Well, here's the deal. Allegiant now doesn't let you push your bag into the box. You have to drop it over the box.
You don't get
from
and it has to
high?
slide straight in.
You don't get close to that thing. You don't give them an option.
They're going to get you.
No, they don't.
They're going to get you. Buddy, between the two of us,
Sounds
I've
like-
done more Spirit than
Sounds
you've
like Jacob
done.
knows
I've done
a life
Allegiant.
hack.
I do
Allegiant.
Allegiant pretty regularly.
They didn't
actually.
get you? Backpacks and stuff? They
You
don't care?
you don't slow down.
You just, get that terrorist look in your eye, and you just keep
That's
walking.
That's it.
And they say, man, I really thought that guy was going to try to talk to me.
That's it. That's exactly what they say.
I was really nervous about it. So I am going out of
I
my
put
mind.
on my best go fuck yourself face.
That's right.
And I walk right
That
past
is
that thing.
patented Jacob Smith snarl.
Yeah.
So there are so many tricks online. The obvious ones of wearing as many pairs of clothes as you can.
What time of year are you
that's
going?
Obvious. Spring. Another
Oh,
one.
so it won't be too bad
is
when you
to
make your kids
carry-
wear 3 outfits.
They'll be fine.
Yeah.
Carry McDonald's bags, like food paper bags.
All right.
And fill it with your stuff.
Hilarious.
Because they don't check that because they just assume you bought it in the airport
Yep.
and just bring it on
That's
the flight,
hilarious.
and they don't care. So that's another
I
one.
haven't heard of that one before. I like that one a lot.
Yep. Another one is retail bags. Like just a Walmart bag, and you just put stuff in that, like you just shopped at a store, like in one of the stores, like you go to like the bookstore. And
Don't
get,
go
like, a
crazy
paper
though.
bag.
Don't go get one of those like big IKEA bags or
No,
something.
I don't think you get away.
Don't get cocky.
Don't get cocky. There are so many tricks. So like it's like sneaking food into movie theaters.
If you were to
like, that's
guess,
what this is now.
How financially, how deep are you into this right now?
$500.
That's it.
500 is my round trips right now. I'm out the door 500. If I can get through both legs of the trip without getting popped for any of my little personal dimensional bags that
Which
are
I
just
think you
right,
can.
I think I could do it. If I can get through, I'm getting scot-free 500, and I'm going to buy toiletries there. There's a lot
Yeah.
of things that you just do there, right? Go to the local Target or Walmart, get the little travel toothpaste
Yep.
and stuff. Your hosts are going to have, I'm staying with family, they're going to
Oh.
have shampoo and conditioner, and wash. So all
Wait,
toiletries.
if you're staying with family, you can actually just mail stuff.
Okay, so I thought about that. That was plan A.
Yeah.
My first plan was I'm not buying any bags because I'm just going to put it all in a box. I'm going to
Yeah.
ship it. Turns out shipping is very expensive. So like a 40-pound box, which a 40-pound luggage item is $60 to haul on to Spirit or whatever.
No, you can't do as much as you can in a suitcase.
Right.
But
I think clothes don't weigh that much, but a 40-pound box to Nashville is like $200 something.
no,
So
do
it is a lot.
priority mail
The flat rate
flat rate.
boxes?
Get a large.
This is like what, $13 a pop?
The large one is something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how many clothes you can get in that.
How many clothes do you think you could stuff into a standard envelope?
See, that's what I'm thinking. If you roll them real well, I like to wear very thin T-shirts.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Good.
they're just like one atom of it's like graphene.
Throw a couple extra stamps on there.
That's what I'm thinking.
You're
Yeah.
fine.
So I am now trying actively to beat the system, and I am obsessed with it. I have gone so far down the rabbit
Are we
hole
taking bets?
that I can do it.
My money's on the system.
Oh well, yeah. Well, especially if Allegiant doesn't let you shove the thing into the box. If you really have to like just
I'm telling you,
plop
don't
it
get,
in there,
do not get
I'm
close
boned.
to it. Don't go like waving your bag around where one of the people can see it.
Well, people say you should try to wear it under your sweater. I'm like, at some point,
No,
they
that's
think
too-
it's a
that's too
bomb.
much. That's too
Like,
much.
yeah, at some point, this is a bad idea. So I don't know, but like, there's all these tricks to like cinching your bag closed, or buying like foam board and like putting it on the inside to give it hard sides. That way, it will slide into the stupid box. Like, dude, there's a lot of thinking that
Printing
goes
on
into
a shipping label.
This is
this is a
service.
whole thing.
Large flat rate box, $18.95.
I wonder how much you could fit in a flat rate box.
okay. So I looked.
Pretty good
up-
bit.
Yeah,
I just
I'm gonna look this up.
I just picked a couple random dates. I looked at Southwest, 4 people,
Yeah,
2 adults, 2 kids, there and back,
yeah,
$1,300,
yeah. And I spent
which
$500.
is expensive.
Yeah, I spent
So
1/3 of that.
Yes,
When
yeah.
you think of taxes, because I'm out
Yes,
the
but
door
hold
for
on.
500.
But hold on,
That was fees, taxes, the whole bit.
you're also not there yet.
This is true.
So
This
500,
is absolutely true.
500 up front doesn't
No.
mean
Yeah,
anything.
it's a $500 down payment.
Yeah.
With the hope that I can get points on the back. I'm
Yeah.
really hoping that I can get through this. So I'm going to run the gauntlet. That is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do this with these little personal bags, which honestly are a little larger than I thought they should be. Like, I was like, oh, a personal bag. I thought it was like, because they warn you on the website, this is like a child's backpack. Like, this is like a tiny Hello Kitty purse. That is what it says on their websites. And they warn you, like, we will stop you. And I know they will. I know they're absolute Nazis about it. So, like, I am very anxious. Like what he said earlier about how he's already miserable knowing he has to do Spirit. I'm there, but with constant anxiety, just trying to figure out how I'm going to
thinking,
beat this system.
If you were to do 8 large flat rate boxes, you're under $40 a person
Yeah.
each way.
Yeah. No, you're
And those-
not. What are they, 13, 14?
They're $18 a piece, $19 a piece.
That's 20, that's 40 a piece.
Yeah, so you're under 40.
person.
You're under 40 a piece,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Because that's still only half of what you would have paid
Right.
if you took the luggage.
right?
Yeah, I need to go get one of these flat
And
rate boxes.
these boxes are about yay big. I mean,
Okay.
I have a stack of them in my house right now.
Okay.
I mean, they're probably about
You
that.
can roll some clothes.
Certainly,
They don't care how much they weigh.
nope.
That's the idea of the flat rate.
That's the flat rate.
Mm.
I mean, I believe there is a maximum weight limit, but you'd have to fill the
It's like
whole
an
thing with like
anvil.
lead shot.
Lead, yeah.
Yeah.
Most of my clothes are chainmail.
Right.
you
I think you'll be
that
fine.
will- Yeah, because I do like to travel safe.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I'm so
I-
anxious. You
I
have
know.
no idea what I'm
no,
going through.
I do. I do
Yeah.
have an idea.
There's a
And-
lot
and
of
that's
anxiety
why
going
I
on
think,
about this.
like,
Not worth it. Pay the money for the
like,
peace of
out
mind.
all of the stuff that you, because it's interesting.
Oh, that's not a flat rate box, dude.
No,
That
it's
thing
not.
is
I said it's
huge.
probably about this size.
That's a lie. That is not a flat rate. Flat rates are thin.
I ship flat rate boxes every month.
That's not a flat rate.
No, it's not. But I'm saying it is approximately this size.
That dimension?
Yes.
It's that
The
wide?
large ones are, yes.
That's really wide. That's $20. Anything that you can fit ships.
This is a flat rate box. This is the medium one.
Wow.
This is a medium flat rate box.
I'm shipping.
Yeah.
I'm shipping. So I brought up the idea of shipping. A, we thought it was pretty expensive. B, my wife was like, dude, no. Like, we're going to put a bunch of stuff in boxes and it's not going to get there. And, like, we're going to have problems. And I'm like, I don't know, man.
no.
I trust the USPS. They're in the Constitution.
The flat rate boxes are priority mail. So you even have tracking labels.
numbers. Well, and on top of that, I'm like, well, okay, you don't trust USPS. I trust them a shitload more than Allegiant or Spirit. They're losing shit
Certainly.
every day. You know?
I mean, this normally gets there in 2 days.
Oh, come on. That's so easy.
Yeah, and you have a tracking number
I'm
and
doing
everything.
it. Jacob, you're a genius. It
No
isn't
shit.
said enough.
Also, let's talk about mail some more.
Yeah. Also, you're a genius. If
Also,
that's a
when you ship out all of the hay scoops, all of that stuff,
you shipped some stuff.
I ship a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I am a regular Stamps.com customer.
Yeah.
When I call, they pick up on the first ring.
The first ring.
Like, Mr. Smith, how are you?
Mr. Smith, did you get our Christmas
They're
card?
excited. I actually get a holiday card from Stamps.com.
That's awesome.
Okay.
I believe this.
Here's another idea.
Yes.
I'll bet you could fit all of your guys' clothes.
Oh, wait a minute.
In
I have a large flat rate box over here.
Oh, yeah.
I'll bet you can fit all of your clothes, all the clothes that the four of you have,
Yeah.
into a golf bag.
Okay. Oh, you got to be kidding me, Jacob. That's fine. Oh, wow. That's heavy, too.
Yeah. Well, there's something in it.
Oh, no, there's a lot of rocks. I guess you just ship things for fun. Yeah. You might be part of the problem, like of carbon footprint. I don't know.
Okay, so 4 of those boxes is how many?
It's a little less than $20 each.
$20 a pop for that? That is a big box,
Okay,
man.
but then
Yeah.
both ways.
I mean, that's as big as my bag.
But shipping it back, you can ship it cheaper because you could go slower coming back as well. So you could even go less
Right.
than $40. I mean, you're going to be
So $20 is a speed thing. It's a
$20
flat rate.
get you 2 days.
Oh, wow.
But then you could go first class coming back, and then like weight and everything goes into
who
it.
cares?
But you can go slower.
Damn.
If you can fit all of your clothes into a golf bag, you can use shipsticks.com.
Oh yeah.
And then you just now
This is a golf bag shipping company?
yeah.
How
Yeah,
much is
so,
it?
For the 3-day express, it's $120.
That's a not bad deal.
Yeah.
Because a golf
Now-
bag's big, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Oh,
Yeah,
actually,
that's huge.
I've got a
Now-
big, long, hard-sided gun case.
Yeah,
This thing
there
is
you go.
probably 4.5 feet long
It's
by.
like a trunk.
Yeah, I mean it is. It's like a thin trunk. It's locking and
$100 to
everything.
get everything over there.
Now,
And I'm saying
That's not
if you
crazy.
put one of if you put this just on the flight, because I bought this to carry on flights.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
now the downside is you'll have to pick up your luggage at Nashville Country Club.
Okay.
So you have to stop by the
you got to
country
send
club.
it to a. Okay.
so it's gotta go to
right
a
now,
golf
my
course.
options are
Nick,
run the
Nick,
gauntlet for free.
They're not going to let Jim onto the country club
Yeah, that's
property.
0%. That's not going to happen.
That's true.
They have pictures of me.
Oh
at
no,
the front
actually,
desk.
a big gun case like that, because
That
you
would
could get
carry.
at least two people's worth of clothes.
All right.
You take out all the padding and everything.
So my options right now, I can run the gauntlet with the free personal bag purse thing. That's the free option if I can pull it off. Plan B, if I get pretty close to this and I'm like, man, a couple days before the flight, because I'm going to do several dry runs.
Yeah.
Like I am going to rehearse this with like a simulated gait and like the whole business because I really want to keep doing runs until I feel I could do this blindfolded. You know, I'm going to practice every possible way this could go down. So option B,
Do we
I
need
do
to
the flat
practice?
rate shipping.
Do we need to practice you walking
Yeah.
aggressively and
Yeah.
assertively past somebody?
Yeah, I'm going to
Jacob-
go to the airport.
Jacob,
I'm going to
can you
actually
play,
try
can you
this.
play the role of the gate agent?
Yeah,
Sure
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Sure thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Jim, go ahead and stand up
Yeah.
and give me your best walk.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going for I'm gonna do the strut, and I'm gonna do the shoulders.
You want me to
Back
not
and front.
stop you and say, "Sir, I need you to drop your bag into
Yeah.
this little tester thing."
Have you ever seen Breakfast at Tiffany's?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going for that. Like, the
All right.
ball gown, diamonds on the chest, hair in a triumphant, just raised bob.
Yeah.
And it's just me, eyes forward.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Have you ever seen Zoolander?
Yes.
The dance off or the
Yeah.
walk off? That's where we're at. Yeah. It's just.
You just
just
went from Breakfast
absolute
at Tiffany's
which
to
I feel are
Zoolander.
very adjacent. The walk is damn near the same.
Huh.
Arguably, I would
Man,
say
I
one
can't
inspired
even
the others.
disagree with that.
I'm
Actually,
really on the right point on that. The
I'm
tone
just
is
surprised you've seen Breakfast at Tiffany's.
there. I've never have actually. I've only seen. I have one image.
Hey Nick, you remember when you and I brought up Breakfast at Tiffany's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
And
I
Jim
know.
hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
Oh no, Jim brought it up.
Yeah.
All I know of that movie is that it's a song, and then I know that there's a picture of a woman in a black dress.
Audrey
with-
Hepburn.
Yeah, apparently she was a big deal.
Yeah.
So that's all I got, man. But
Okay.
I definitely try to emulate her
Great
strut.
story.
I wonder if this
Yeah.
would work. Oh,
New idea.
new idea. Guitar case.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because
they
if
got to
you were-
charge for that.
if you were flying with a guitar,
Yeah.
they will allow you to carry it on.
What? But you got to pop. Okay. So you're gonna get popped. You're gonna pay the 40 or the 50 or the.
You're going to
60.
pay for a carry-on,
You're gonna pay for a carry-on, which is 50 up, 60 back.
but it's a guitar case.
But you could get a lot in a guitar case.
Yeah. You got to look into
maybe.
if they allow guitar cases on these flights,
You
which
know,
I
I don't
believe
know.
they have to.
I think because that would be discriminatory against musicians, which is a protected class of people.
I don't think that's why they have to, but sure.
I don't know. I have to brush up on my FAA guidelines. We should probably answer some therapy
I mean,
questions. Hey, but listeners, if
I
you have
know,
any advice,
I know
I'm
we've
listening.
skipped all of the therapy stuff
Yeah,
for,
yeah.
for this
This
whole
is the
first
important
segment,
thing.
and we're about to do the first round of trivia.
Yeah.
Because I think that's just where we're at
I think
in time.
we're
Okay,
finally at the end.
But can I just say, I mean, the obvious solution to this, pay the extra money,
No,
go on a real airline so you don't have to deal with
not
it.
paying that
Yes.
much money to go on an airline. You're with me. Don't act like you're better than me. You are also going to fly Spirit because the savings are impossible
You're
to
not-
walk over.
My savings are $700 a person.
Yes.
Yours are not that.
Mine are
I was
$1,000 divided by 4.
I was absolutely shocked at the difference in flight costs for this trip. That
Me
I'm going to my
too.
cousin's wedding, and like the difference in price for the flight cost
It's
between Spirit
huge.
and like the next cheapest one I think was American.
Yeah.
I mean it was a $700 difference.
It's insane.
Yeah. And
I'm
I am-
round trip for 500.
part of my problem is I'm flying into one airport and flying out of a different airport, and so I don't get the break for doing a round trip or anything like
Yeah.
that. But still,
I could also wear a bodysuit.
actually, I don't think I'm
and I
flying
could
back on
just
Spirit. I
shove
think I'm only
all the
flying
clothes
there
in
on
the
Spirit.
bodysuit. Like if I could buy one of those sumo suits.
That's true. No, I am. I'm flying one way on Spirit, and I'm
then
flying
you-
back on a real airline.
okay. Well, I wouldn't advise that
Yeah,
because that way you.
I'm
can-
flying back on an airline that has wings and everything,
Yeah. We got a lot of good questions today,
and we're probably going to get to some of them.
hopefully. If you have any advice on how to beat the system, I am all ears. Please comment in the Patreon or in the Discord.
By the way, let me
I would
tie
like
this
to know.
into our show. Flying is stressful,
Very.
and it can cause some fucking mental anguish.
Yeah, patreon.com/therapy to hear about a very emotional Jacob Smith on the airplane. He had himself an
Around, kids.
evening.
It's now time for Dr. Jim Jobin's latest Tale of Woe.
Whoa. I haven't woed yet. I am future woeing.
Yeah.
So that will come.
Well, you woed on the podcast on the pre-show as well.
I did. I
the
woed about
Patreon.
health. And
That's
other
the word I
things.
was trying to find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think woe is past tense and we is future tense.
Wee.
I think it's a we until you've done it. And then you
Wee.
All right, guys, let's get going.
Toxic mother from Anonymous. Please help.
Oh, I really thought we were going to the first ad break.
This is a lot. Hey guys, I have a struggling relationship with my mother. She guilt trips me and manipulates me into feeling bad for her. So I won't argue or show signs of individuality. I thought we were past this, so my wife and I recently moved in together with her to give financial support, and I am also waiting for a major neck surgery, so we thought having the extra help would be beneficial. My wife and I had every hope of this working, My wife, let's call her Susan, also had a strained relationship with my mother, mostly from the behavior she has seen my mother show towards me. My mom has never shown acceptance of Susan and is quick to try to make me believe she is no good for me. For some background, at the age of 19, my mother was living on welfare for the most part, as she had custody of my younger brother. Since I was not going to school, welfare applied my income to the bills. So I then was solely responsible for paying every bill in the house. And in this, the writer was 19, by the way. After Susan moved in with me to my mother's house, she quickly saw the manipulation and abuse. We ended up living in hotels and our car due to having a dog my mother and her boyfriend at the time just couldn't stand. All this while we paid for everything. We are now 32, and this is just one example of the trauma my mother has bestowed upon us. So it's safe to say Susan struggles with trusting her. I, on the other hand, tend to let her get away with all of it without even an objection from me at all. It has, for some reason, always seemed the right thing to do because she's my mother. Fast forward, Susan struggles with her own past traumas and family issues. She's also struggling with alcohol abuse and has for some time. She recently had a spill with her mother ending it all by telling her to never speak to her again and completely cutting her out of her life when all she was trying to do was explain how she felt. This caused Susan to spiral. She eventually, after a week or two of struggling, ended up having a complete mental breakdown fueled by alcohol. She spazzed and acted completely out of character. It definitely wasn't fun or pretty. I had no choice but to call the police and ambulance because in my heart I knew she needed more help than I could give her at that point.
Good job.
Yeah, that was a
Good
call.
job.
Thank God I did, because she aspirated on her own vomit and was admitted to the ICU. I got very close to losing her altogether. In the midst of all of this...
And you didn't because you made the right call
You did.
there. I just want to stress that.
Yep.
Good fucking
A lot
job.
of people don't do that
Yeah.
because they just think, oh, it's just alcohol.
And you're scared
You'll wake up.
of calling somebody, you're scared of doing all that.
Embarrassing them.
This is why you make the call. If
Yep.
you're questioning it all, you make the call.
That's exactly it. In the midst of all this, I did wake up to the fact that I was enabling Susan, not helping her. My mother was there for this entire breakdown with complete judgment. She assumes the position that Susan is toxic and hateful and is using me. After 13 years, I know that's not the truth. I know she is struggling with an illness that she can't battle on her own. My mother and I got into an argument, her screaming that I was enabling and coddling Susan by visiting her in the hospital when this happened. This triggered me pretty bad. I stated a few things that have always ate at me, but I didn't dare speak on because I knew it would just be an argument. I didn't speak on this because I wanted to hurt her, but I wanted her to understand that I didn't write her out of my life years ago from the stuff she has done to me, and I wasn't going to do that to my wife either. I can't understand why she would believe abandoning my wife of 13 years would help her or me to be happy. Since getting out of the hospital, Susan has started AA and is getting into mental health and substance abuse programs. She's really trying, and she's remorseful for what she's done. But my mother doesn't seem to care about Susan's struggles, or really that she's even alive. She won't speak to us, and anytime she does, it's because she's mad and being hostile. She stays in her room, and so do we. And this just cannot be healthy to feel this way in your own home, for us or her. It's been a week now, and I feel more and more unsafe every day. And I'm also fearful that my mom will end up escalating this to the point where it threatens my wife's sobriety and mental health. We are all on a lease together that has 9 months left. I would like to think that we could all just wait it out, but every day seems to get worse. The rent is too expensive for my mother alone, and we have 3 big dogs that need more space than an apartment. I feel the only positive way to go about this would be for her to move out. We have no problem leaving, but I don't want to leave Mom in financial problems either. I have thought about writing her a letter to tell her how I feel, but that scares me. My wife wrote her a letter apologizing and trying to explain how she feels, and things only got worse. I'm now having feelings of resentment. The past childhood trauma mixed with the present adult trauma is too much for me to handle. I now don't really want to speak to her anymore, now that she has concreted the thoughts that she hates me and always has. But then I worry about her happiness and her well-being. I worry if anyone will be there for her if she needs it. I don't fully understand why I'm still putting her feelings fully before mine. So I guess what I'm asking is, 1, how should me and my wife approach her? 2, am I wrong for sticking by my wife's side through all this? 3, why do I put my mother's and really everyone's feelings before my own? Why do I care more about her being hurt than I care about how much she has hurt me? Thank you so much for everything you guys do. Sincerely, Sam.
Can you repeat question 2 at the end there?
Yeah, 2 is, am I wrong for sticking by my wife's side through all this?
Okay. I missed if you said wife or mom.
Yep. So that one's about wife.
Great.
And then number 3 is, why do I put other people's feelings above my own? And number 1 is, how should me and my wife approach her regarding this whole boundaries and sharing of an apartment thing?
I mean, it seems like you're kind of stuck in a situation right now, and I think that's the best thing you can do is to learn from this experience moving forward. If you're struggling having boundary or keeping boundaries with somebody, you definitely don't want to get into a lease agreement with them.
Yeah.
And don't want to find yourself in situations where you are then financially dependent on another person that you struggle setting and enforcing boundaries with, because then you don't have an exit. There's no real good exit strategy in this situation.
And the mom's kind of parasitic, right? Because, and I don't mean that as a slur. I just mean like the writer, Sam, is saying, mom can't afford anything on her own. So now I have to care for mom, even though mom is toxic and terrible. What do you do in that situation? You could cut somebody off, but Sam struggles with that, doesn't want to just walk away.
Is mom not contributing to the rent and everything at all?
I think mom does contribute. Mom's on the lease, but Sam's saying, man, the 3 of us can't just keep living under this roof because it's horrible.
Sure.
But mom can't
No,
survive
I agree
on
with
mom's
that.
own.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we thought maybe we should leave and let mom have the place, but mom can't afford it, and the dogs need, I think, either this place or something bigger, so they want to get out of this because 9 months feels too long. That's a tough one.
I mean, I would start by going to the landlord and seeing if there is an amicable way to break the lease.
Yeah, it's good to know your options.
Yeah, I mean, just figure, start by just figuring out option A.
Right. But that's a tough one, because if you do come to mom and say, look, we've talked to the landlord, we're going to dissolve the lease, then mom says, oh my God, you're choosing your wife, who I think is using you, and you need to get out of this, and you're going to leave your poor mother to rot,
At some
it's
point,
tough.
You kind of have to, though, right? You have to pick something.
God, that's a tough one.
Because it doesn't sound like wife is going to tolerate mom forever either.
Yeah.
Can we go to question 3? Because I think question 3 is actually
That's the meat.
That's the meat to me. Why do I put my mother's and really everyone's feelings before my own?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of how we got into this mess to start with.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I don't know the exact reason why that is. I can guess. I can put together a hypothesis.
You don't think it's like too much carbs or something?
Carbs are usually the problem.
You got to watch your macros.
Yeah. No, but like if you grow up in an environment where you are responsible for having to take care of somebody, whether it's your younger siblings or even if you're in an environment where you are forced to take care of your parents, then when we grow up, we form an identity, and our identity is based off of how we grew up in a large part. So your identity, and I'm just guessing because I don't have this information, but if that's the way you grew up, then my guess is that you helping other people is part of your identity. It's kind of how you see yourself, and it's how you give yourself meaning, which is why you would naturally be attracted to other people who constantly need help. Because if you are in a relationship with somebody that didn't need help, then it becomes difficult to find meaning. Like we see this all the time with roles that children play in abusive environments. Like there's the one that's kind of like, it's identified as the family hero, right?
Yes.
And the family hero is usually like the oldest child who, because there's dysfunction between family or between the parents, they have all of the parental responsibilities falls on the oldest child. These individuals, when they grow up, sometimes will marry people who have alcohol or drug issues because they need somebody to take care of, or If it works out really well, they find themselves working in a field like nursing or something like that, where they end up taking care of people. And again, I think it has a lot to do with just how your identity forms. But I want to emphasize, I don't know if that's the case in this particular situation. I don't have all that information, but this is something that I would take a look at. But I think it really goes back to having to set some really good, strong boundaries with your mom. And I actually said this in the last episode. I used an example. Women that I've worked with before in previous jobs where they had very unhealthy relationships with family members. There was often past abuse and trauma, and just the women having this respect for the parents and like, oh, well, I can't say that to my mom because that's my mom, or, oh, I need to be respectful, or I need to do this for my mom. And you would say, why? Well, because she's my mom, or he's my dad, or he's my parent. Yeah, but why? And it doesn't go any deeper than the fact that this person gave birth to me, and that's it.
Right.
There was no respect that was earned, and I mean, would you, if this person was not your mother, but just some other adult, would you tolerate this?
Right.
My guess is you probably wouldn't. And so at some point you kind of have to develop, that sense of security in yourself and just say like, okay, yes, you gave birth to me. I appreciate that. Thank you for the ways that you've helped me when I was a child. Thank you. Yeah. Now I'm an adult, and now we need to talk like adults. And if you're not going to talk like an adult, then I need to distance myself.
Boundaries. But this is, I completely agree with Nick, Sam, because the heart of this is really number 3. How I do relationships with other people, how I allow myself to be treated. And this is important too, because what your wife's going through with, you did ask, hey, is my wife going through an illness, addiction, alcoholism? And yeah, Nick and I would agree with that. But one of the things that we often do in rehabs and substance abuse treatment is we're getting to you, the spouse, and we're also training you about enabling and about especially this important phrase or word, codependency. And so what you're experiencing with your mother and what you're experiencing with your spouse, it sounds like you may be struggling with that behavior pattern. And codependency is a very important word. It's not a mental illness. It's a pattern of relationship. And sometimes it's used as sort of a slur. That's unfortunate because it is a real disposition. And usually we'll see codependency develop when people have lived in dysfunctional relationships, when they've had dysfunctional family upbringings, dysfunctional romantic relationships, which is often why if they have been married or lived with an addict or somebody that had a chronic mental illness, or if they've been through chronic forms of abuse, whether that's verbal, emotional, sexual, or even financial, those can all develop a codependent kind of posture. And codependency tends to have a rescue mentality. It tends to have very low self-esteem, this thinking of like, I will never be okay unless everybody else is okay, and I have to serve them, I have to take care of them, and if I fail them, then it's the worst possible thing that could happen. I'd rather be wronged than to ever wrong them. And in your story, we see that over and over again, the way you're dealing with your mother, the way you're struggling with kind of creating a healthy boundary with other people. I have a handout that I give to people whenever I suspect that they might be struggling with codependency. And here's some of the things it talks about on here. People that have codependency might have an exaggerated sense of responsibility for the actions of others. They have a tendency to confuse love and pity with the tendency to love people that they pity and want to rescue. They have a tendency to do more than their fair share all of the time. They have a tendency to become hurt when people don't recognize those efforts. An unhealthy dependence on their relationships. They're almost a relationship addict. The codependent person will do anything to hold on to a relationship to avoid the feeling of abandonment. They also have an extreme need for approval and recognition. They have a sense of guilt anytime they assert themselves. They have a compelling need to control situations and others to keep everybody safe and make sure everything's working. They have a lack of trust in themselves and in others and in situations, which again goes back to being a controller. They have a fear of being abandoned or alone. They have difficulty identifying their feelings at all. They have a sense of rigidity and difficulty adjusting to change. Change frightens them. They can have problems with intimacy, problems with boundaries. That can mean lots of things. They may struggle with chronic anger. They may struggle with chronic dishonesty because they don't want to disappoint other people. They'd rather just lie about things. Sometimes they have poor communication. Sometimes they have really difficult times making decisions. So again, this isn't a diagnostic list. I'm not reading this to you so that you can check these as if you have 5 of these, whatever. No, it's just, I think that you see yourself in some of that, Sam. And codependency is something that we want people to grapple with. We want them to understand if it's a pattern that they have, then they need to learn to grapple with that and to start confronting that so they can start to assert healthy boundaries. And Sam, you've got a long road ahead. Whatever happens with your mother, that's important, but also the situation with your spouse who is beginning recovery, going to AA, trying to get help. And so the 2 pieces of advice I would give you, if you're not already, I would want you to get involved with Al-Anon. Alcoholics Anonymous is the group that your spouse is going to go to because she has the disease of addiction. Al-Anon is the place for you, the spouse of a person dealing with addiction, to go to. And while you're there, they're going to have a lot of stuff to read with you and talk about with codependency and setting boundaries.
You could also check out Codependency Anonymous. CODA, CODA.org.
Definitely look into CODA. And there's a really great book, Codependent No More, which is, I believe, by Melody Beattie. And that's a classic text. She was the wife of an alcoholic, and she finally started writing her story down and reflecting on how she crawled through the difficulty of codependency. And Sam, I'm sure you will see yourself in the pages of that book. But all of those are suggestions that I would want you focused on, Sam, because I want you to notice any codependent patterns that we have and start to grapple with that. And that's how we're going to learn the path to healthy boundaries, which is not just designed to make you feel better, Sam. I know that wouldn't appeal to you. It's really designed to help your relationships too, because if you can be a healthy, assertive version of yourself, you're going to have a healthier relationship with your wife and help her with her disease. And ultimately, long term, you're going to have a healthier relationship with all the members of your family.
And it's going to help you understand what your wife is doing and help you help her. Gives
you perspective for sure, and advice.
And it's because your wife is going to go through some shit.
Oh,
your wife is going to go through some shit, and you're going to feel helplessness.
Yes.
When it comes to that, and this will help you alleviate those feelings. It's not going to get rid of those feelings entirely,
no,
but it will help you alleviate those feelings, and it will at least help you understand them, which is huge,
and normalize them. When you're hearing it through the eyes of others.
Yep.
I mean, that's a big part of it. Sam, great question. A lot of people relate to you. Look into those resources, my friend. Learn about these things for yourself. It will do you a world of good to start looking at that.
Yep.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're talking about trouble with my friend's boyfriend.
It's time for the first break already.
You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Smitty Scoop, Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop, Mason Miller, Tess Miller, Dirty B, Byler, T, Paris, Team Monaco, and Oscar Swarnros. And if you'd like to sponsor the show, become a therapy producer. Patreon.com/therapy. Our trivia questions today are brought to us by Myra.
Ooh.
In Scotland.
Aye, matey.
The quintessential British chocolate.
Perfect Scottish accent.
I like it.
The quintessential British chocolate company was purchased by Kraft Foods in 2010.
Huh.
Many Brits blame this buyout for the smaller size of an Easter favorite.
Huh.
So I guess we named the Easter favorite.
Oh.
Oh, no, this quintessential British chocolate company.
Oh, I thought the company was called Quintessential
That's what
British
I thought it was
Chocolate.
too. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That would have been a good name for it,
I know.
honestly.
I was like, whatever the answer is, it's not as good as that.
Do we have guesses, or do we just throw one out there?
No, we got to guess.
All right.
It was a British chocolate company got bought by
Quintessential British
Kraft,
chocolate.
who ran it ashore and broke the value of these things.
Yeah.
I'm going with the East Indian Tea Company.
I think you meant East Indian Trading Company.
That one.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm going with that.
Yeah. You got the initial right though.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's the
This
only
is
British
there's
company
a
I'm
hint
aware
in
of.
here.
Yeah,
The
sure
smaller
is.
size of an Easter favorite.
Oh, it's the Cadbury cream eggs.
It's the Cadbury.
I'm going
eggs.
Cadbury.
Yeah, it's
East
Cadbury
Indian
eggs.
Cadbury Company.
Okay, I'll go Cadbury too.
Yeah.
Solid.
Let's just
Let's just slam
see.
dunk this thing.
It's Cadbury.
Hell yeah, it is.
All right.
Those eggs are delicious.
Good job, team.
Oh, man. We're doing really good, guys.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Next question.
Everybody's a winner today. Trouble with my friend's boyfriend from Anonymous. Hello, Pod Therapy Squad. My friend got a boyfriend and immediately stopped showing up in our friendship like she used to pre-boyfriend. I understand this happens to a degree when a friend gets into a relationship, but this change was substantial. I know she tends to become very dependent in relationships and insecure, so part of this is her losing herself in the relationship. But I have a bad feeling about her partner. He's a curmudgeon, insults her, but it's their thing. And he doesn't get along with the majority of her friends and family. He doesn't like her sister and won't talk to her, and he has unconnected with me on all socials and doesn't talk to me, and I don't know why. She doesn't want to be in the middle of it and has just said he doesn't like us, her sister and me, but won't say anything more. He has also got her to move with him to a different city, leaving all her friends, and they share her car. Further, he previously had relations with a friend of hers, and he borderline, or did, depending on how one looks at it, sexually assault her. After they weren't hooking up anymore, she called him for a ride because she was too drunk to drive, and she woke up at his house finding out that they had hooked up, and she was blackout drunk. I hope I'm wrong, or that I'm missing a large part of the picture, but I have a bad feeling about him. I've told her my feelings to a certain degree, but not outright. More from the angle of, hey, our friendship is lacking, and I worry he has something to do with it. But she has said she doesn't see a change in our relationship at all, which baffles me. It hurts that she doesn't take ownership of not showing up as a friend. Can someone still be friends if their significant other doesn't like them? How do you navigate a friendship when you don't like the significant other, or you think that they aren't healthy for your friend? Right now, I have to let her go as a friend. I tried hard to be there, but it doesn't seem like there's space for me in her life. Thanks for any input. Y'all rock. Desiree. My pronouns are she and her.
Okay. Can you be friends with somebody if their significant other doesn't like you? Sure makes it difficult.
And especially when they move cities, like obviously your friend Desiree has bet on this relationship, right? Like she went in on it.
So here's the thing. So I've worked a lot with, like I said in the last letter, I've worked a lot with women specifically. And so there was always healthy relationship issues, boundary issues, domestic violence issues, things like that. There's a lot of stuff that you're talking about in here that kind of is a red flag for me.
Sure, yeah.
But again, like I have to acknowledge that I'm hearing Desiree, I'm hearing your take on this.
Sure.
So I'm seeing it through your filter.
Right.
So I can't say that, yeah, oh my God, look out, be careful. This is, I don't want to alarm you to that.
Yeah.
But there is some stuff that I'm hearing here that does kind of
it's
rubs
unsettling.
me the wrong way.
Yeah, that's certainly not happy information.
That is a typical thing that a controlling, possibly abusive person would do, is
removing friends,
systematically putting distance,
plucking away every person in their life,
so that this person becomes dependent only on them.
Yeah.
So that does bother me. But it sounds like even though you don't hang out as much as you used to, it sounds like you still have contact with her, which I think is great. And I think that's your best bet, I think, is, just maintaining that relationship. But again, like, there's nothing you can, aside from actually seeing something happen or really kind of, witnessing that, I don't know what else you can really do other than let her know that you're there and you're supportive.
Yeah.
So that if something is happening and she needs help, she knows she can contact you.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's your best bet.
And I like that in the form of a letter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think you can talk to her about it as well, but I like that in the form of a letter.
Yeah.
And I would say when you speak to her to give her this letter, because I'm assuming you're going to hand it to her in person, ask her, just say, hey, I'd really like it if you held on to this.
Mm.
And then she has a nice physical reminder
that
she has a friend out there, I'm not going to tell you what to put in the letter, but I would suggest putting something in there saying, that you value your friendship and you would like to continue it someday, but you don't feel like you don't feel like it's going well right now, and you're afraid that you're going to lose it entirely. And that way, if and when she has a hard time down the road, she'll have a nice physical reminder that there's a friend out there, and that might influence her and get her to reach out to you.
I like that idea completely. The only thing I would add to it, because I think this is he didn't say this, but I think it goes without saying, so I'll say it.
That's not how it goes without saying works.
Yeah. Don't, okay, then it doesn't go without saying, because I'm about to say
it. should never go without saying.
In fact, I must insist that it be said. Don't criticize boyfriend. Don't criticize her boyfriend, because what that will do in the letter is it creates an I told you so door, so that she won't feel safe coming to you if this relationship does crumble. She can't, right? She can't come to you, because then it's gonna be like, oh, well, you chose him over me. You're dumb. Remember what I said in that letter, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you have to take that higher road. And again, you don't have to, Desiree. You could just decide this relationship's no longer fulfilling to me. I don't feel you've been a good friend. That disappoints me. And I'm going through the emotional work of letting this person go. Mm-hmm. You could do that too.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that.
That's fine. That's a viable option. If
we grow out of friends the same way we grow out of romantic relationships.
That happens. You know, sometimes it's just the era's done. And if you need to send that message though that says, "Look, I care about you. I'm here for you." Like Jacob said, I feel like now our relationship isn't very strong, but I want you to know that, I will always be here for you. I would take that high road and not mention anything negative about the boyfriend, because that creates that path to come back to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with both of you on this. I think that Desiree probably needs to take that step back to realize, right or wrong, positive or negative, your friend has enmeshed in a romantic relationship that excludes you from their life, that they have less and less time for you. And you've brought that to their attention, and they have just said, nope, they disagree. That's not their take on it. And they've moved away. And I think now you just kind of drift back and you kind of let them learn by doing. And look, you've got to be careful, because sometimes when we see a friend getting into something, we want to jump all over them and be like, no, don't do this. He's a bad guy. I heard this terrible thing about him, or this terrible thing has happened, and look at what he's doing. And I've Googled narcissism, and this looks like narcissism. Or, Nick, you didn't reference it, but you used to have an activity or something that you'd reference, something about power.
Yeah, the power and control wheel. The Duluth model power and control wheel.
Also, great pants company. Make really good undershorts.
Yeah, pretty cool city.
Very Duluth.
Yeah, nice city.
Yeah.
Also I don't know I'm not familiar with the underpants.
Oh, wonderful.
It's a nice city, though.
Very cool. Very cooling. They wick away the sweat.
Oh, I like wicking.
Yeah, you got to get some wicky underpants.
And I could be wrong, but I believe the Edmund Fitzgerald was on its way to Duluth.
Oh.
So just a tie back there to previous episodes.
Yeah.
But anyway.
To most episodes, honestly.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And really to this question, I think is what we're trying to say. Something about the Fitzgerald. So yeah, I agree. I think that you've got to, Desiree, make peace that this relationship is probably on its way out or down for a while. I think you've got to give your friend the dignity of risk to try out this relationship. For better or worse, she sees this person differently than anybody else possibly can. That apparently is redemptive to her. I'll tell you, you are never going to help your friend by just shouting at them and telling them, hey, this guy's toxic, he's bad, don't forget these other things we've heard, or what happened to a friend. She's aware of all that, and she is choosing the relationship anyway. And honestly, that is her right as an adult, making her choice. And she's throwing the dice. If she says, hey, this is risky, he's sometimes a dick, but I decided I love him and I want to be with him and have my reasons, there is no amount of negotiating with her. It's going to undo that logic. That is her truth. Let her live her truth. And I think at best you can be on standby and available if she needs to come back. Or the alternative is starting to prepare yourself to let go of the relationship.
Yeah, I think the more you push, the more she's going to be rooted in her stance.
Almost always.
Yeah. So.
And I think that you bring up a good point too, Desiree. I mean, if you have a close friend and their significant other doesn't like you, and there's some kind of beef or there's some kind of coldness or distance, more often than not, your friend is going to choose their new partner and drift away from other social groups. That is the way of things. The same is true of kids. A lot of people lament that their friend had kids and now they never see their friends anymore. But that's come up, I think, in the past on the show. And I think, Nick, both you and Jacob have said, Yeah, that's a pattern that does happen sometimes, and it is a real life adult reality. And you can be disappointed in it. It can affect you, but it's pretty common.
Nick and I keep waiting for Jim to drift away.
Yeah,
It's like, have another kid, do something.
yeah. Move on already.
Any day now.
Get a cat. Yep. Well,
Maybe we got him a cat.
I used to have cats. They were great. Desiree, great question. Thank you for writing in. I'm sorry for what you're going through, my friend, but I hope you'll continue to just be an awesome friend to those around you. And look, people have to be a friend to get a friend. And if your friend has drifted away, invest in other relationships. I think that you've got to be the best version of you, and you deserve to be treated the way you treat others in friendship. And I hope that you are. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about sober friends and a new normal. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is still brought to you by Smitty Scoop, Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop, Mason Miller, Tess Miller, Dirty B, Filer T, Paris, Team Monaco, and Oscar Swanros.
Swanros. I don't think there's an R in the first one. I think there's one R.
Yeah.
It's in the back.
Would you like to sponsor the show? Become a therapy producer. Patreon.com/therapy. Our second question,
I really want to catch
thanks to Myra, is the Open, or the British Open, is the oldest golf tournament in the world.
False.
True.
14 courses have hosted the Open, 7 of which are in Scotland.
Oh, damn.
Name 2 Scottish courses that have hosted the Open.
Ah, screw you, Myra. You pick something just for Nick. That's a layup.
There's one for all of us.
Oh.
Yours was the Cadbury one.
Oh, that's probably true. I do consider myself the Cadbury.
I'll go last.
Okay.
Oh, no, I think you should go first.
Yeah.
Can
Can we have multiple choice?
I'll defer.
I would like
Christ.
to agree with Nick.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We could do this. We come up with something that's in Scotland.
All right, St. Andrews.
That's there. That's got to be one. So what, we got to
That's,
get one
that's
more.
definitely
It's-
one.
We got to get one more.
Yeah.
Saint Michael? St. Patrick. Oh, that's obviously one.
That's Irish.
Oh, they're not the same?
St. Patrick. St. Patrick is that's an Irish saint.
Okay. Saint Augustine? That could be a good one.
By the way, Myra, you're welcome for me just saying that.
Yeah.
So you didn't just have to scream that at your
Yeah.
podcast listening device.
Saint Patty?
Okay, I'm just gonna go.
St. Andrews and the old course is part of St. Andrews.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely know another Scottish course, and
I'll wait.
Shut up, pretentious golf bastard.
Can I just say the one that Trump tried to buy?
Oh yeah, the Trump International.
I'll say St. Andrews and the one that Trump tried to buy.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one that was.
I don't either.
Probably
Okay,
right.
so St. Andrews is definitely one. I also feel Carnoustie is one, as well as Royal Troon, but I'm not sure if those are in Scotland.
Oh yeah, I don't think Trump tried to buy one. I think he tried to build one.
I think he tried to smuggle
Oh, he
classified
did.
documents.
Yeah,
to
he
one.
tried
He
to build.
tried to like buy land from some Scottish people like right there on the coast for like a quarter of what their land was worth or something like that.
Yes.
Feels about right.
Yeah, that's
You should have come to
the
me.
movie.
I own land in Scotland.
Yeah, and you
That's
would have
why I'm a
sold.
Scottish lord.
Would you? You would have sold to him.
Oh, I got 3.
I have a price. I have a price in mind.
Damn.
You got all 3 of those?
I got 3 out of the 7.
Wow.
So St.
Oh,
Andrews,
that's not
Prestwick,
passing.
Murfield, Royal Troon, Carnoustie,
Yep.
Messelburg.
But all we had to do was name
Turnberry.
one, so another point for Jacob.
Yeah.
you had to name 2.
And that's how one is pronounced in Scotland.
That's true. A
That's
lot of
Scottish for one.
People, a lot of people don't know that they do numbers so
Yep.
differently.
They just skip over one entirely.
They do them how they want to do them. Sober friends and a new normal from Anonymous. Hello. Recently, I have had a chunk of my friend group and good friends become sober from alcohol. I'm very happy and supportive of each of them, but I am now also trying to adjust to this new normal. I feel judged now by them whenever I drink, which makes me resentful because, 1, I never judged them when they drink, and 2, I don't feel like I have a problem with alcohol, but even if I did, refer back to 1. It's like they are projecting their experience with alcohol on everyone else and not seeing that not everyone has the same relationship to alcohol that they did. Also, like CrossFitters, you always know that they are sober because they are constantly talking about it and telling everyone, which just comes off as condescending. This also affects our group gatherings. I now feel like the only one having a drink, or I am being judged if I do, or if I don't drink for fear of not being supportive or introducing temptation to them.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go out to bars with them. Not that we did a ton of that, but not everyone wants to hang out on your couch at home because there's nowhere else to go at night. I know you don't need alcohol to have fun, but now some environments that were more commonplace are gone. That turned into a bit of a rant, and I didn't mean to sound insensitive. I know this all really means our relationships have changed, but I do mourn the way things were. Not their struggles with alcohol and personal traumas that fueled it, just the dynamics we lost because of it. I'm sending this in because I know you both have experience working with this, and I'm hoping you can help shed light on how those of us who now have sober friends can adjust, process, accept, support, and navigate this new dynamic. I'm also wondering if the behaviors I've noticed, like judging, condescending, and projecting, are things that you have regularly seen, and if so, how does one navigate that? Thanks for all the laughs and healing, not necessarily in that order. Cindy.
So, when we talk about substance use and you talk about dependency, we can talk about the biopsychosocial model of dependency. And so when we say dependent, how do you know you're dependent on something? It's actually pretty simple. Basically, you just remove it and see what happens. So if you're biologically dependent on something, a substance, and you remove that substance, you experience withdrawal symptoms. So that's a biological piece. If you are psychologically dependent on something and you remove it, you start experiencing intense cravings for it. And you get things will trigger you, and then you start thinking about it. It occupies your mind. There's also social dependency, which basically means you remove the alcohol from the social component, and if it's extremely uncomfortable, then that's an indicator to you that there was some social dependence. And it sounds like that's kind of what has happened here. So I guess I'm really curious, and obviously you're not here to answer some of these questions, but I am curious, like, when you're saying that you feel like they're judging you, I would love to hear more about that. Like,
In what way?
In what way? Yeah. How is that manifesting itself? Is this something that you feel like you have good evidence for, that they're verbalizing some judgment? Or is this more of an internal feeling, like they're not saying anything, but you feel like you're being judged? Because that can be kind of an indicator of kind of like how you feel about your alcohol use. Because it does sound like there is definitely a lot of social dependence. Because, for a while, Jim stopped drinking.
I did.
And it had zero effect whatsoever on the three of us.
Right.
It was absolutely not noticeable.
No effect on whether or not Nick and I drank.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Zero.
Also, no effect on whether or not we continued to offer drinks to Nick or to Jim.
That's true.
So,
That is very true.
yeah.
We didn't try to force them.
Yeah.
You did.
But we definitely,
Nick didn't.
we
You
definitely would offer.
Yeah.
He would order them.
Well, we
just
would
leave
just-
them on the
It
bar.
would just be like, is today the day? Like, I don't know. But
I'm not going to make you do this, but it is here.
I don't think I ever actually did
No,
that. I
but-
think we laughed about. I think we talked about me doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, let's
I
go
don't.
with that.
I don't think I ever actually purchased the drink and then left it sitting on the bar.
Oh, I don't know, Jacob.
I don't
That
think-
sounds like some pretty
I
Jacob
don't-
Smith
I-
shit to do.
It does. I think we talked about it. We definitely talked about it, laughed about it. I don't think I ever did it.
That is true. I don't think you would waste good whiskey.
That's it.
I don't
Yeah.
think you would do that.
But I mean, I guess that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's like it does seem like that was a big part, and now that it's gone, it has really shaken things up. So I
Yeah.
think there's something to be learned there.
This definitely does happen. And this Cindy, if you're not already supporting the show, this is a good episode to go through a buck in the hat so you can get to the Patreon portion. For funsies, I brought in non-alcoholic as well as the regular alcoholic versions of several beers, and we did a
Just
Pepsi
disgusting.
challenge. The boys didn't care for either of them, but it was surprising
There were
that
4 cups of beer in front of me, and they were all bad.
you can tune in to find out how they did at being able to identify the difference. So what's interesting, and this is actually a big thing that Nick and I have in our research roundup pile of data and interesting things to share when we get around to some of this, but the alcohol industry is going through a huge shift in the last recent years and in their projections. Previously, non-alcoholic versions of popular beer brands was less than 1% of all alcohol sales. They are projecting that in the next decade, that will become 20% of all alcohol sales. And you're seeing that because the big brands are now releasing beer that is so similar to their regular recipe that many cannot tell the difference. And so Heineken and Budweiser and Coors and all these different companies.
Well, I told you I had some Guinness, some
Guinness.
zero alcohol Guinness this
Yes.
weekend.
Guinness, like classic. So and there's de-alcoholized wines now. There's entire spirit and cocktail companies that are trying to create really fancy, specially made mock cocktails. Some might call them mocktails. Perhaps I'll coin that term today. But they're fake spirits that are based on similar flavor that are completely non-alcoholic. So my point is, what you're going through is increasingly common, that there are larger groups of people who are just walking away from alcohol altogether. Now, I agree with you, Cindy, that it's like, okay, fine, great, good for you, wonderful. But you're right. In many of those groups, it becomes such a conscious choice that, like many other conscious choices, like being a vegan, or being a CrossFitter or whatever, it becomes something that just starts getting brought up a lot, and just has to be mentioned all the time. Let's all go out, for beers. Oh, well, I don't drink. Great. I invited you to socialize, right? Could you just come socialize? Oh, can we go somewhere else besides a bar? Great. You want to go like a pretzel shop? What else is there? It's just an evening watering hole. Just don't order beer.
Lounge.
Right. Yeah. If you're in Vegas, you can.
Auntie Anne's.
Yeah, let's go. Actually, that sounds really good. Auntie Anne pretzels are amazing at the mall.
Yeah.
Oh my God, with the cheese dip. So yeah, but it's interesting because our social conventions, at least in America, and I'm sure very much in England and other European nations, are very rooted around this is the watering hole. This is where we drink alcohol together. And so whenever you remove that, I think it can be just inherently awkward. There can be inherent social pressure on those people. But we do see a pushback. And that's what, Cindy's seeing here is a huge pushback where it is kind of pretentious and it is kind of condescending. And that is really tricky to navigate. Whenever I stopped drinking, I stopped drinking for like 8 months for health reasons. And when
it clearly worked.
It's been wonderful. My ears have never heard better. Maybe that's the trick,
You know
guys.
what?
Yeah.
All
That's
of a
probably what it
sudden,
was.
the earache.
That's right. I go back to being
Ah.
completely stone cold sober. The ear will probably fix itself. But whenever I did that, I was, like the guy said,
that
it
you're
didn't
not
affect
drinking
our
enough.
relationships. I didn't. I never brought it up. It would only get brought up whenever somebody would ask me, like, "Oh, Jim, what are you having?"
Right.
And then I'd say, "I'll get a Heineken 00," and like, great, that was the end of that. And like Scoop Fest happened while I was doing that. And was at Jacob's for the big party and everything. And I just brought my own 6-pack of 00s, put them in the fridge, asked Jacob if that was okay, it's fine. And yeah, that was it. Those were for me. And no big deal. I was happy. I'd had my little flavor going on. It was perfect for a barbecue and everything was good. So I don't think people have to be pretentious about it. But yeah, I think that a lot of people, especially when they're doing it as a group,
Jim chose to be
comes
pretentious
out.
about it.
Yeah, you don't have to. I just will to be pretentious. So I guess the question then becomes socially, all three of us have had friends do this, get on the sober train.
Sure.
And some of them were probably pretty preachy about it. How do you handle that? What's the social etiquette to maybe nudge back? Or if you're starting to be excluded from things like Cindy is, where she's surrounded by people that aren't drinking. Now she's the odd one out. And she's being made to feel like she's somehow traumatizing them when she didn't do anything in the first place. What is the etiquette? How do we navigate that in polite society?
I mean, go ahead.
Well, I was going to talk more about Jim.
Oh,
So there was something that we talked about when Jim was not drinking, because Jim never said that he was never going to drink again.
right.
Jim quit for health reasons, like he just said, and so something that Nick and I both pointed out to him nicely, I think, on a couple of occasions, was very simply, we don't want you to dive back in and just go nuts.
Sure. Yeah.
So, for instance, last year when we were talking about it, I believe it was your birthday. We were saying because you were saying, oh, I'll be drinking by my birthday. And I think I said something along the lines of, Well, don't wait until then
Right.
to start. Don't make
yeah.
your birthday the first night that you drink.
And that's what you're going to associate with drinking more than just your
Right,
birthday.
because then it's
yeah.
celebratory, and then
Yeah.
you're going to drink too much, and you're going to feel bad, and you might get sloppy or whatever.
Sure.
So we talked a little bit about that. I don't know if that really pertains to you or not, but there is that. I don't know. I mean, I think you can just call them on it if you're
Yeah.
good friends, and they're being shitty about it, or even if they're just kind of
Kinda
making
snobby.
you feel shitty about it.
Yeah.
They're just being snobby about it. I think you can just call them on it.
Yeah.
I guess for me, it also kind of depends on why they're doing it. So, like, if I had a group of friends and they all just decided they were going to stop drinking alcohol for caloric reasons, they
Sure.
just don't
Yeah.
want the empty
Or they keep
calories.
reading bad things in the news and they're
Sure,
like, I'm out.
whatever.
Great.
Then I think I would probably, all right, I'm still going to hang out with you guys, but I'm going to continue to drink.
Right.
And if it's awkward, then I guess that's a little awkward and you kind of have to deal with that.
Yeah.
If they quit drinking because of they were developing a problem with alcohol, a little bit of loss of control, it was causing significant problems, relationship issues, stuff like that, then in that case, I would be a lot more mindful of me drinking around them.
That is very different.
That is a different situation. And
Yeah.
I think in that situation, then it's like, okay, if I'm hanging out with these people, these are my friends, I still want to hang out with them, but I'm not going to bring anything around them because I don't want to burn around that temptation.
Yes.
I want to respect their choices and just do it that way. So I guess that's kind of how I deal with it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. I had a family member who stopped drinking more for the second type of reason. And when we have big family gatherings and stuff, we knew that there would be other family members who, gonna order drinks, or whatever, or bring a cooler, for the pool party or whatever was going on. And in those situations, I would intentionally just not drink as an act of kindness to basically just say, hey, I love you. And I know that this has been a struggle for you. And I don't want you to feel like you're the only one who's not partaking, because it is a vibe. It is an energy. And there is a silliness that often goes with it, and a looseness and a relaxedness, and it's a social lubricant. And whenever you're not participating, you can seem like you're standing out. And so I definitely agree with Nick that if your friends are doing this because it has been very bad for them, and you mentioned that in your letter, you said, look, trauma and things like that, they had real problems with this. All right, like if that's the case, then Cindy, I kind of come back around to you and say, well, be gentle, because if that's what's going on, then yeah, unfortunately they will look at you. And again, your friends could just be snobby and pretentious. That's always on the table. But if it's not that, it could be the opposite, where unfortunately they have pain associated with this. It is always tempting to go back to it. And if they have somebody in their orbit who's doing it anyway, it can feel itchy, and it's not fair to you. You haven't done anything wrong, but unfortunately the pain they associate with that and their own past is now present at this table as you're shooting pool, as you're having dinner, and it can affect them. And so you didn't do anything wrong in that. It isn't necessarily your responsibility to adapt to their reality, but I don't want you to be naive. I want you to be completely aware this exists. This is a dynamic, and that might be contributing to some of the tension that you're feeling.
As a suggestion, maybe y'all could get into cigars.
That's a good idea. Or you one up
heroin.
them. Also that. Yeah.
Black tar.
That's why you listen to Pod Therapy.
You chase that dragon.
Let's tell you. Let's teach you how to use it. I think that's really what we're here to do. Let's teach them how to get the
First of all,
No. Beep, 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 beep. Somebody mute his mic. Or you one up them, Cindy, and you just go full vegan CrossFitter. And then that's what you do. You go, I'm
you
drinking.
think they're pretentious.
I'm drinking. I need the carbs.
Yeah.
I've just been burning them.
Yeah.
Burning them. Just
go
doing the ropes.
Keto,
vegan,
CrossFit.
Yeah, primitive. Yeah, the whole business.
I really
Soul Cycle.
Yes. Reggae, dreadlocks, like all of it. Get all of that in there, and then only listen to jazz. Because it's the only real music.
Complex jazz.
Complex jazz. Oh,
I love that idea.
Like you just
Yeah.
you talk about how Thelonious Monk
Yes.
isn't real jazz.
Oh yeah, yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Actually, you could just get into
Yeah.
super pretentious jazz.
Yes, that would be the best. That would be the best.
So forget everything else we just said.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
I
the
think
answer.
that's the answer.
That's clearly the
Out
answer.
pretentious.
Yes, that's exactly it. They go high, you go higher.
Yeah.
Okay. High society. Everything they want to do is garbage. That's the best. I think also you also become a cigar smoker in the midst of that. Because I think whenever you're that, or a pipe smoker, really, you got to get out the little tamping nail and do the whole business with the lit match and everything. And right there in the bar. Oh,
Yes.
that'd be great. And then microwave fish for lunch. This is how you do it.
Carry a microwave?
Yeah. Oh, no, they have one in the bar. You
They
can
always meet for lunch.
Sorry, I didn't get a chance to descale this.
I don't want Cindy to come. She always brings her microwave.
Yeah. And a cod.
Yeah. And a Heineken.
A whole cod.
And a whole cod. Which she enjoys with a glass of rosé. Okay. Good question.
Oh,
Thank
I
you for
like
that.
going more pretentious.
That's
I
always
really
the
like
answer.
that a lot.
I think you just out pretentious them, Cindy.
You find the most
there's a win.
pretentious jazz you can find.
That's right.
And then just discuss loudly how it's not real jazz.
And only get your news from printed European periodicals. Oh yeah, you only read The Economist. Get all of your news from The Economist. And anything they talk about, you're like, what?
Anything they say, you go, oh, where'd you hear that?
Yeah, Twitter.
Oh, you heard that on
The
NBC?
New Yorker, you
oh,
pleb. Yeah.
Oh, no. That's not real news.
The book was better.
The book was
That's all I
better.
gotta say.
Yeah. Everything they say, the book was better.
You guys seen Hogan's Heroes?
No,
The book was better.
Yeah, I heard that. I did hear that about Hogan's Heroes. All right, as we wrap up the show, Jim's going to cough wildly. And as we wrap up, we want to remind you that you can go to patreon.com/therapy and you can get this show, but the extended edition, and you can get it a day early and ad-free. Oh, my goodness, that's awesome. Or
How can they possibly do all of that, Jim?
Patreon.com/therapy for only $1. Or they could kick in a little bit more and get even more stuff. But again, for only that $1, you can also get access to the live Discord community. And then for $5 or more, you can get our weekly deep dives, interviews, skill shares, research roundups, and rants. And in recent editions of our Monday stuff, I dropped the content on my deep dive into the Fermi paradox and the dark forest theory for why I think we don't see aliens in the sky, because I think they're out to kill us. And then you did a deep dive on golf or sports mentality.
Sports psychology.
All right.
So it was a little bit of a different twist. The idea, I think, was a great idea.
People liked it.
Yeah. So what I was doing was I identified the 3 sports psychology mental game techniques that I was going to utilize, and then I stopped recording. I played a round of golf, and I came back and I reported on how it worked.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Give us a
Innovative.
spoiler. How'd it work?
It sucked.
All right.
Awesome. Don't forget to give us money.
Yeah.
You can listen.
Learn from Nick's mistakes.
Oh, it's a good listen. It's a good listen.
Those are the best.
Learn from Nick's failure.
Yes.
That's the best way to learn. That's my favorite way to learn.
And stick around after the show. We got one more trivia.
Ooh, fun times.
Okay.
As we get to the end here, we've got some new people to thank. I'm going to start by welcoming new Therapal. 2 times speed is too slow.
And thank you to our new Therapods, Walker, Fluke, Fifi, and Chris Conway.
Chris Conway. And of course, we want to thank our partner, Dirty B, and all of our bosses, the mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of the fan club, the Thera producers. Thank you, Jake Schneider, Jake Schneider. He got so pissed on Discord about Pepsi products, and he was like, I'd rather drink piss than Pepsi.
Oh.
He's like,
Jake, I'm with you, buddy.
dead serious. That's
I'm
why I
with
said I
you,
think
buddy.
it's a Southern thing. Like, I don't know what it is.
Jake is on it.
The South is loyal to Coke, man. Very loyal.
Yeah.
There's like a museum of it in Atlanta. I mean, they're whatever. Jake Schneider, Robert Brownie Jr. Man, Smitty Scoop, Ben Dawn, Judy
You and
Schneider,
me, Jake.
Kayla Lansbury, Dr. and Mr. Hot Dog Scoop, Malia, Leon Kassab, Cindy Ash, Mason Miller, Richard Macy, Carolyn Albert, Kevin Chamberlain, Tess Miller, Newstick, Sammy Scoop, Ben Stanley Slappin' Ya Face, Polygon, Sarah Smith, Adam Hathaway, Byler T, University Jeff, Mike Helm, Myra, Paris, Samantha Cohn, Darren Cunningham, Lib, Team Monaco, Thunder, Cougar, Falcon, Scoop, Matt and Lisa Tangeman, Heyo, Oscar Swanrose, and a Sunny Boy.
And if you'd like to hear this episode uncut and unedited,
And why wouldn't you?
and enjoy our spontaneous side projects, go to patreon.com/therapy. And thank you for supporting mental health.
That's all the time we got for this week's session. Want to thank our landlords, Matt Mattingly's Ice Cream Social Podcast. And thanks to those of you who contributed to our show today. We really appreciate it. Remember, pod therapy isn't something to keep all to yourself. Share this episode with someone who needs it. Tag us on the socials when you do. It's at PodTherapyGuys on Instagram and Twitter, /PodTherapy on Facebook, and don't forget all the extra goodies at patreon.com/therapy.
Do you want to submit a question to the show? Ask anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. I'm Nick Tangeman.
I'm a fan of Pepsi.
Thanks, and we'll see you for your appointment next week.
It's the choice of a new generation.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'd do that too.
You know, Pepsi with some lemon in it? That's very good.
Although wild cherry Pepsi.
Wild cherry Pepsi is bomb.
All right, here we go. Whiskey is the national drink of Scotland.
True.
There are 5 distinct whiskey-producing regions recognized by the Scottish Whisky Association.
Oh, wow.
Campbelltown.